Hi, that's a picture of me. Now you know what I look like. I'm going to talk to you in this presentation to give you a little bit of my background. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a New Yorker, and I went to college in Manhattan, to Hunter College. When I left, I knew I wanted to be in the advertising agency business, and I was very fortunate to be accepted over at J. Walter Thompson in their management trainee department. While I was there, I was very lucky to be able to work on the Clairol account where blondes have more fun. After a couple of years, I left and I went to Footcone and Beldy. I worked on several accounts there, one of which was Hallmark Cards, where each commercial made you cry. And then, after another couple of years, I moved to Ted Bates, where I worked on several accounts more. One of them was the Big Ten account. At that time, I, as a Nova, whizzed around an ice skating rink with a pen attached to our ice skate, trying to break the edge. But it was very strong, and it didn't break. Then I left advertising per se, and I went over to Condé Nast Publishing. I did actually start in their advertising department, but moved pretty quickly into copywriting and editing. I had a column that I was responsible for, which was called the Shopping Around column, and that was for House and Garden within the Condé Nast group. After a while, I moved to Ogilvy and Mather. This was on the west coast of California. One of my accounts was Universal Studios Tours, and I was in the account handling division. Then I met Rom, and we did all kinds of projects. And along the way, I got a lot of experience in the Middle East. And I started a company called Touchstone Limited. Let me tell you something about that. We formed Touchstone Limited in London, where we were living it. This was a pioneering of a new industry of direct marketing. We created unique luxury limited editions specifically for the Middle Eastern market. As the managing partner for Touchstone, I made various alliances with suppliers. Wilkinson Sword in London, England, Daum Crystal in Nancy, France, in the Monnaie de Paris in Paris, with Pietrosanti Foundry in Carrara, Italy, with Venturi Arti in Cadriano, Italy. We designed, manufactured, and fulfilled orders. We also made an alliance with the American Express Gold Card in Manama, Bahrain. They had a list of their current customers from the Middle East, and we were able to use that list. Our first product was called the Dual Saqqah. That means the sword of two rings, the legendary sword, and I consulted with the Metropolitan Museum of New York and the Ashmolean Museum in Oxford, England, to create this Sasanian sword in keeping with the time, and we made a wonderful brochure. The brochure was sent out on our gold card list and received very good response. In fact, our first order was for 17 swords by a Middle Eastern bank, and we thought they were joking, but they weren't. Falconry is a much beloved sport in the Middle East, so what we did was we commissioned a sculpture by Emil Hartmann. He was a famed wildlife sculptor that we met in Monte Carlo. We prepared a beautiful brochure, and this sculpture was acquired by a number of Middle Eastern heads of state and royalty. Following on the success of the Falcon and Gauntlet, we commissioned a sculpture called the Spirit of the Wind. It was crafted by wildlife painter Spencer Hodge. It was made out of a single lost wax casting. It was created at Fondaria Venti Arti, Cadriano, Italy. This was also a success. You might be interested to note that all of our products were commissioned on a basis where we would produce them in 6 months' time, and we were very fortunate we were always able to meet our deadline. Our next product, a medallion, commemorated the Hajj. It was made of 1 kilo of gold and silver. It was stamped by the Monnaie de Paris. It was truly beautiful. It came in its own wooden box and could stand proud, and both sides were absolutely beautiful. This medallion came next. It was commissioned by King Fahad as a commemorative medallion, which he presented to the heads of state and Middle Eastern countries. Touchstone undertook swords, medallions, sculptures, all of which were new businesses for me, but somehow I did it. Then a new opportunity arose. We learned that the various rulers wanted multiple portraits of themselves done in oil so that they could put them in the various government buildings. We had official paintings made of their likenesses by the National Portraiture Association of London. Their various members would undertake an image, and we would send it to them, and they were always very pleased. By this time, we'd been working with Wilkinson Sword for rather a long time. What we found out was that the Sword of Justice that hung in the Old Bailey needed to be refurbished. We asked Wilkinson, while it was being taken apart, could we please take molds of it and reproduce it as one of our limited editions. They agreed to let us do that. This edition was very successful for us. Number 001 was presented by the Lord Mayor of London to Chief Justice of the United States Supreme Court, Warren Burger. In July of 1981, Prince Charles and Lady Diana were planning to be wed. In honor of that occasion, Buckingham Palace created a wedding sword for them. Wilkinson came to us and told us actually, that Buckingham Palace would like us to sell the sword to non-Commonwealth countries. Well, we took that on, we made a brochure, and we were very successful in selling that sword to places where the Buckingham Palace did not have any connections. Touchstone was very successful. It was in business for about 5 years. But because we were so successful, we created our own competition, so that market no longer was of interest. But I hope you enjoyed learning about my background and will stay with us to learn more about our current project.